this quick live stream because I'm going to talk about my testimony video that I uploaded a few weeks ago about anger. For those of you who didn't see that, it was basically me explaining two different incidents where I got really angry at God and at other people. And the first incident that happened was me just being very unrighteous in my anger. I was doing a lot of stupid things. There were even things that I didn't mention in my testimony that I did behind the scenes after I had lost someone. My anger originally started up when I lost my godfather Kyle, and that's where I began to start with my testimony video in that I released a few weeks ago. So if you haven't seen that video, I would suggest you go check it out because I've been trying to make more videos of me explaining different things that I went through, whether it had to do with anger or forgiveness or patience or showing love to people that I really didn't want to show love to, just showing kindness to those who I really felt like didn't deserve it, honoring different people, and how there's a difference between honoring and respecting someone in different ways of doing it, because some people think oh, you respect me if you do exactly what I say. That doesn't mean that you respect them. That doesn't mean that's a way to respect them and stuff like that. You can still respect someone without doing exactly what they want you to do, but that's a whole different topic. So my previous video, once again, was about anger, and it did start off with me talking about these different girls who were picking on me during school. And I don't know if I mentioned this in my video, I'm pretty sure I did. The school I went to was a private Christian school. And so the very fact that the things that they were saying that I didn't say on camera, the things that they were doing to me that I also didn't say on camera, and it being allowed in a Christian school was definitely not okay. I definitely can speak for almost every Christian or Catholic school when I say that just because there's a Christian or Catholic school out there doesn't mean that every single person who attends there is a Christian. And as I grew up in that school, I really started disliking the idea of calling the school a Christian school, because we were letting more and more people in, and the more people we let in, the less Christians there were, because we had people from public schools and from different backgrounds. And not saying we shouldn't have taken them in, but it really wasn't a Christian environment. It really wasn't a safe spot a lot of the time. As I got older, especially when I got to high school, there were physical fights breaking out. There was at some point a kid brought in a airsoft gun and was caught on the cameras doing that in a Christian school. There were times that people brought in inappropriate items. We would have electronic day around Christmas time and around winter recess and around the end of the school year, and people would be playing inappropriate games, demonic games, and would purposely hide it because they knew they weren't supposed to be doing that. But the very fact that they know it's wrong and they were purposely doing it in a Christian environment made me feel less and less safe in this school, and with the idea of calling the school a Christian school, because I felt like almost everywhere you looked you could find something to just say, oh yeah, that's not Christian appropriate. As a Christian, you shouldn't be doing this. And definitely in my school, people in my grade especially, don't mind my dog, people in my grade especially didn't know what being a Christian really meant. They said, oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Oh yeah, I believe in God. I believe he did this. But as you get older, you're like, no, you're not. And the reason why I say I don't believe that they were Christians, I think they're believers. Now, there's a difference between being a believer and being a Christian. I'll explain. A believer is someone who knows that Jesus is real, know that God is real, knows that Jesus is the Son of God, that he died on the cross. They believe everything in the Bible actually happened. They believe it for what it is, but they don't apply it to their own lives. They don't say, oh yeah, God says to treat everyone the way you would like to be treated. That rule doesn't apply to me. Like, I can treat my parents any way I want. Like, they take certain scripture and they twist it, or they think that certain things are okay but other things aren't. Like, they won't follow the way the Bible tells us to follow it. They'll add in excuses on why they do what they do and just not apply a real Christian culture to their actual lives. A Christian, same thing, but obviously a lot different. They, again, believe that Jesus is real, believe that God is real, believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that he died on the cross. But they actually take the step to follow what the word says. Now, there are new believers who people will look at and be like, well, you just said that you became Christian and yet you're doing this, this, this. I honestly, in my personal opinion, give new believers more lenience to doing things wrong. Not saying that when they do things wrong, it's okay, because obviously when you sin, it's wrong. But they're learning more about how to be a Christian. They're learning what isn't right. They're learning what isn't okay. They're learning what is okay that they might have thought was not okay before. Like, obviously, in the Christian environment, cursing is a big no-no. And you might have several people who come in. Yes, I am a Christian. You might have several people who come into the Christian faith and they want to learn more about the Bible. They want to learn more about who Jesus is. And during their walk, they like might slip and say a curse word or something, and someone will correct them. In a loving rebuke, that's completely fine. Like, you can correct them and you can guide them towards the right path, tell them that cursing is not okay. But if they are someone who says that they've been a Christian for, I don't know, 5+ years, 10+ years, and they are still using a mouth, like, that's not okay. If they say they've been walking the faith for a several amount of years and they're continuing to do things that are not okay, like purposely lying, purposely stealing, purposely using a foul mouth, purposely disrespecting their parents, whether their parents are saved or unsaved, purposely watching, listening, or thinking inappropriate thoughts, that doesn't show Christian behavior. Those show believer behaviors where you know what the Bible says about these kinds of things and you choose not to do it anyway. I am a Pentecostal Christian, yes. Yes, I am Pentecostal. My church does a lot of, I wouldn't say, I guess, ministries that encourage the Holy Spirit. So Pentecostal is where we preach and teach about the Holy Spirit a lot more. Thank you so much. I give all the credit to God for that because I'm not the best at speaking. So whenever I do talk and I'm trying to tell other people about God, I definitely give God the credit for that because I have a hard time with my speech. So I thank you for that, but the credit really does go to God because I'm not good with talking at all. But yeah, to go back to my original topic about the previous video that I made, my testimony video about anger, that's why I explained the whole school thing. That's why I explained the whole Christian environment that I was in, Christian environment. So yeah, those areas were really, really hard growing up. I literally lived on the property, so my house, my school, and my church and my pastor's house were on the same property. I don't know how many acres of land it was, but it was quite a lot. So everywhere I went, there was like some Christian ministry or people there. So anytime I wasn't around those groups, it just really felt awkward. Going in depth more with the story, that's why when I stopped being a Christian, I actually had a hard time with the people around me because I had just explained to you guys the type of school I went to where it was a Christian school, but the people there were not Christian at all, at least not in my grade or class. So it was very difficult for me to accept Jesus even more into my life because when I'm in a Christian school where I'm being bullied where well, I shouldn't say being bullied. I shouldn't say that. Where I'm being teased for little things, and where kids my age are purposely trying to get on my nerves, and they know it's wrong. They know they're going to get in trouble if they get caught. And they know that whenever I say something to the teacher, if the teacher sides with me, that they're going to be in a lot of trouble. But they don't care. So I am just like, well, if this is how Christianity is, if these are how Christians are going to act, I want nothing to do with this. This makes me want nothing to do with God even more. So I was just full of anger towards God, towards the people around me. At some point, even my parents, because I'm like, you two are pastors and you're not doing a very good job with coaching these people with Christianity. If they're still doing really inappropriate stuff, they're still being really mean to each other. Clearly, they are not listening to you because you're not trying hard enough. I never said that directly to them, but that's what I thought. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, my parents are pastors, my mom and my dad. And at the time, my mom was my youth pastor, and my dad was the associate pastor at our previous church, meaning that he was the second in command. He wasn't the senior pastor. But I'm like, you guys are doing a terrible job because our church is still extremely messed up and you have yet to do anything to fix it. And that was foolish on my part to even think about my parents. I did mention in my testimony video that at some point I wanted a relationship back with my family, because as I was going 6 years not being a Christian, I really did mess up my relationship with my family, especially my mother. I can't remember if I left this in the video or not, but my mom did punish me for 10 months. And the reason why is because at the last day of school, I wound up stealing money from my church. And my teacher and my pastor had no idea where the money went. And I went over to my godmother's house to hang out with her and her kids, which are my god siblings. And I think it was my little sister who wanted to color something. And my godmom was like, Maria, do you have any crayons in your backpack or anything? I'm like, yeah, they're in the front pocket or something. And she goes through my backpack and she found the money that was missing from the church. And she goes, where'd you get this from? I'm like, oh, that's mine. And she just looked at me. And I'm assuming during the time I wasn't watching her, she texted my mom and said, hey, Maria has the money. Because when I came home, my mom was waiting for me and my brother to step through that door because my brother was with me. And as soon as we walked in, we're like, hi, Mom. She did not look happy at all. She was like, open up your backpack. And I'm like, what? And she goes, open up your backpack. And she told my brother to actually leave the room because he had no idea what was going on. He was like, what's going on? And she said, leave the room. And he went upstairs. I was just left in the kitchen with her. And she goes, open up your backpack. I opened it up. She went through it. She found the money. Immediately sent me to my room and was like, go wait for me. And I'm like, oh, it's over. And I went to my room terrified. And she, I think like 20 minutes later, comes in, shuts the door, and she spanked me. And she was mad. Like, she was really mad. And because I was a child, I'm going to clear this up now. Because I was a child, I saw the way that she was punishing me and disciplining me as abuse. I'm going to be honest. But now that I'm older and I have more wisdom and more knowledge of my actual intentions behind what I was doing and her intentions behind her disciplining me, it was not abuse at all. I do know that one friend who I told this story to years ago, as I was explaining it to him, he's like, that's abuse. And I kind of saw it as abuse, but my mom and I had a discussion not too long after I told my friend, but she's like, I didn't abuse you. I was disciplining you because you did this. And since I've had that conversation with her, again, this was like 3 years ago, I don't see what she did as abuse. Yeah, she took away all my stuff for 10 months. She took away my, like, I had necklaces and little earrings that she got me. She took all those away. She took my stuffed animals away. She took my toys away. There were some clothes that I had that were really worn out, and if she saw me wearing them, she'd cut them. Like, that's where I'm like, all right, you're drawing the line. But I was just not good. Like, I wasn't a good kid. And I saw myself as like the trouble child. Like, I really believed that if I wasn't part of the family I'm in, they'd be better off without me, because I just made things worse for each and every one of them. So again, going back to the original part of my story, at some point in my testimony video, I did mention that my relationship with my mom and my sister got better. I never said how it got better, and I'm going to explain that quickly. At some point during school, I'm trying to think. Oh, hi! Sorry. Hi. Trying to think. I think I was in 8th grade when this happened. So how old was I? Trying to think. I'm 18 now. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. I think I might have been like 12 or 13. Maybe? No, not 12. Whoa. 13 or 14 years old. I was in 8th grade, and there was these group of boys in my class that would not leave me alone. Like, they were just so annoying. They were just bothering me and the 2 girls that I was friends with at the time and that I was talking with. We were talking about something, and one of the boys just wouldn't leave us alone. Like, they were being really annoying. And I yelled at him. I'm like, could you please shut your mouth and leave us alone? And he, with a bratty attitude, said, a Christian really shouldn't be speaking like that. And I said, I'm not a Christian. And I didn't care that the rest of the class was listening. I didn't care the fact that they all knew my parents were pastors. And I just bluntly said in front of the whole class, I'm not a Christian. And then his brother turns around and says, you're not a Christian? I'm like, no. And he goes, so are you Catholic, Muslim? I'm like, just because I'm not a Christian doesn't mean I follow another belief. Like, there are people out there who don't follow other beliefs and know that God is real. Like, just because I say I'm not a Christian doesn't mean I'm Muslim or Catholic or an atheist. Because if I was an atheist, that would mean I don't believe in God. But I did still. I just didn't want to follow the Christian culture. So I shouted out that I wasn't a Christian, and I shut the 2 brothers down. I'm like, y'all better be quiet before I embarrass you even further. But if anything, I got embarrassed afterwards because my 2 friends, oh, thank you so much. God bless you, my friend. But yeah, I wound up getting embarrassed because my 2 friends who I was talking to were Christians. Well, one of them was a believer. I'll say that much. One of them was a believer. And they were just shocked at what I said. And they're like, seriously, Maria? And they had a whole side conversation with me. Eventually, my mom texted me on my phone that she needed something. Again, I live on the property of my school and my church, so I could literally walk less than 20 seconds to my house and to my school. My mom texted me that she needed something, so I look at my teacher. I'm like, hey, my mom needs this. Can I walk back over to my house to give her something? And my teacher said, yep, go for it. I got up, but before I went to give whatever it was to my mom, I wrote a letter down for my friends, and on it, it said, if these kids continue to bother me, I'm going to kill myself. I am already prepared to do it. I already have the knife underneath my bed. I've been waiting for a day to just end my life. That's partially what I said on the note. And then I left. I gave my mom what she needed. I ran back to school, and I came in. We were now having recess, and my friends came over to me. They're like, you were gonna kill yourself? I'm like, I've been wanting to kill myself for so long now. Like, my life means nothing to anyone else. There's no need for me to be here. I don't need to be here. No one wants me here. Yes, I'm gonna kill myself. So my sister was a teacher at the school I went to. She was the preschool teacher. During recess, I had told my friends not to say anything to anyone. And 10 seconds later, I turn around and I see them walking over to my sister. I'm like, I'm gonna kill both of you. Like, I was ready to just jump on the two of them and just start punching them. I'm like, I don't care if we're friends. I clearly told you not to tell anyone, and 10 seconds later, you're immediately walking over to my sister. So I'm giving both of them the death stare, and my sister calls me over. And as I'm walking over to her, I look at my friends. I'm like, I'm gonna kill you too. I didn't say that to them, but I had the look that I was gonna do it. My sister sits me down on the bench. She talks with me. She's like, is it true that you were gonna kill yourself? And I'm like, I wasn't going to. I am going to. And my sister's like, nope, you're not going to. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because now you weren't supposed to know, and the two loudmouths over there just told you. And she's like, those two loudmouths just saved your lives, or else I would never have known that you were going to do this, and I can't stop you. I'm like, I don't want you to stop me. And she's trying not to get emotional because she's still trying to be a teacher to the preschoolers while still be my sister. And I'm like, I'm not needed here. No one wants me here. I make everything worse for the family. It's better off if I'm just not here. And she goes, you do know if you kill yourself, you'll go to hell, right? I'm like, I don't care. I want nothing to do with God. God wants nothing to do with me. Fair enough. Like, I don't care. And she's like, I'm going to have to tell Mom. And I said, no, you're not. And she goes, I'm going to tell Mom. And I'm like, I'm going to do it before you tell her. And she's like, no, you're not. You're not going to. And you could tell she was panicking on the inside, but she was just trying to be so calm about it. She's like, you're not going to off yourself before I tell Mom. School's over. My brother and I, who are in the same class, are dismissed to go home. And immediately as I go home, I see my mom, and I don't say a word to her. She's asking me and my brother how school was. I don't say a word. I go immediately up to my room. And I texted my other friend, my girl best friend, about what happened, and I told her that I was ready to kill myself. She didn't respond right away. She was doing something while she was texting me, but by the time she saw it, I was already talking with my mom and my sister. So I'm not replying to her text now, and so she probably thinks that I had already done it. I had already killed myself. And she's just texting me. I believe at some point she tried to call me. I couldn't answer because I was talking with my mom and my sister. So my mom knocks on the door, and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. She goes, you don't look fine. I'm like, cool. And eventually she was just like, Maria, what's wrong? And I said, you'll find out from Rachel soon when she comes home. And then she closed the door. About 15 minutes later, my sister and her walked back in. My sister came home from work. And I sit down on the floor. My mom sits down on the floor with me and my sister. And my mom goes, so what happened? And my sister explains everything that my two friends at school had told her. And my mom just looked at me and she's like, is that true? And I don't remember exactly what I said, but I just knew that I couldn't speak directly to her. I couldn't look at her. I couldn't speak without stuttering. Hi! But I just know that she was in shock. And she asked me why I wanted to do it. And I repeated the same thing I said to my sister. I'm like, I'm not needed here. The family would be better off if I'm not here. You guys really don't need me. And if anything, I feel like you guys really don't love me. And I don't blame you for that because I've made it really difficult for you guys to love me. I've been a horrible daughter. I've been a horrible sister. And I might as well just relieve you guys of that trouble. And she goes, that's not true, Maria. I'm like, yes, it is. I've gone 4 years just having a struggle with all of you guys. I'm physically fighting with my brother. I'm disrespecting you and Dad. Joey and Rachel, which are my older siblings, want nothing to do with me. They're not asking to hang out with me anymore. They're not offering to play with me anymore. Like, they really don't want me. I really am not loved or needed here because I've made myself not loved or needed here. And my sister's trying not to cry. Obviously, just from me explaining it, I obviously cried telling my mom this, but I'm still not looking at her. Like, I couldn't look at my mom. And my mom said that if my two friends didn't come to me, or not to me, didn't come to my sister, there's a possibility that CPS would have arrived at our door and taken me away. I didn't know what CPS was. And she explained what it was to me. And I'm like, I'd rather die than be taken away from you guys. Because then that's just more stress and trouble that you guys would have had to deal with. The fact that your daughter was taken away. And my mom's like, I don't want you to be taken away. But I also don't want you to die either. And she's like, do you really want to die? Do you really think that if you were to leave this earth, no one would care? And I told her yes. And she gave me the list of people that she knows would have lost it if I had died. Like, lost it in the sense of would have been so angry, would have been probably depressed if I had left this earth, simply because I decided to do so. And a lot of the names that she mentioned, I didn't even put any thought into of how angry those people would be if I had left. My two best friends, for example, my guy best friend and my girl best friend, I didn't think about them. And when I finally did, I cried even more because I didn't want to leave the two of them behind. And I would have never seen them again, literally. And I just started crying more and more. My mom starts praying over me. And I just start apologizing to her for everything. And after her and I had that conversation with each other, along with my sister being there, my relationship with my mom restored. My relationship with my sister got better. But it was still hard knowing that the two of them knew I was going to kill myself. There was another point where I was going to do it again. I was going to kill myself again because I messed up really badly. But this time I didn't say anything to anyone. But just from the way I had been acting, I guess, throughout that whole month, my guy best friend now knew something was up. And the day I was going to get it over with, the day I was going to kill myself, he texted me right before I did it. And he's like, are you okay? And I stopped what I was about to do. Had he not texted me, I would not be here. Because the whole reason why I was going to do it again was because I really felt like no one cared about me as much as they thought they did. And just from the fact that he sent that message, seeing if I was okay, contradicted my whole reason for killing myself. And I started crying. I didn't tell him what I was about to do. In fact, it wasn't until this happened in April of, I want to say 2021. April of 2021 was when this whole thing happened. And it wasn't until, I think, July of the same year, so April, May, June, July, that I told him what was going to happen. I called him or really I FaceTimed him and I said, hey, I need to talk to you. And he goes, hey, what's up? And I told him everything about the day that the Jesus in him really saved my life. And he had no idea. But he's like, you don't still have thoughts like that, do you? And I'm like, no. And he goes, do you harm yourself? I'm like, sometimes, because that's the only thing I can do without offing myself and leaving behind everyone. And he goes, all right, I want you to stop. And he was the only friend who consistently asked me about that topic, because he was really the only one who knew. And would check up on me. If he saw a mark on my leg or on my arm that seemed unnatural, he'd ask me how I got it. And I'd tell him the truth every single time. And the following year, I think it was the following year, 2022, yeah, we went to a summer camp that his uncle directed. And while we're waiting for one of the games to start, I'm sitting next to him, and he looks at my ankle and he goes, what's that on your leg? And I had no idea what it was. I looked and I saw a cut. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And he goes, how'd you cut yourself? And I just looked at him and I said nothing. And he immediately knew what that meant. And he just hugged me. And he goes, you and I are going to talk later. I'm like, darn it. And I said, do we have to? And he goes, yep, because I told you to stop doing that and you clearly didn't. And we talked. This was around the time that I had just become a Christian again, by the way. So after I had that talk with him the first time about how he saved me, that's around the time that I decided, you know what, I'll try my hardest to be a Christian again. And he did help me with that. Without him being the foundation of my relationship with Christ, he did guide me to a healthy Christian path. There were times we FaceTimed and called and did devotionals with each other, ask each other biblical questions. And he was just great. I still talk to him to this day, not as often, unfortunately, because he lives all the way in Arkansas and I do not. So we're a long distance friendship, but I mean, he's been awesome ever since that day where I told him about how the Jesus in him saved my life. He's been absolutely amazing. And my anger towards God decreased because I saw the Jesus in him. And I'm like, if that is how a Christian truly acts, then that's what I want. And my whole thing about Christianity was that people say that they love God, say that they're trying to act like Jesus, and I had yet to see a Christian be that good. With the way my parents were disciplining me, I saw it as abuse. So I thought that they were doing an even worse job of being pastors, because they're being horrible to their kid. But from the way that my parents disciplined me, with me looking back at it now, they did exactly what all Christian parents should be doing. Maybe not to the extent of taking away their things for 10 months. That was a completely different story that I still think was appropriate for what I did. But I'm not saying every Christian parent should do that. But the type of discipline they gave definitely was godly. I wouldn't say it was unrighteous. I wouldn't say it was abusive. I wouldn't say it was worldly. I would definitely say it was godly. But because of the love my friend showed me, or my best friend showed me, I'm like, if that's truly who God is, I want that. And that's one of the reasons that encouraged me to start a relationship with Christ again. And I don't know if I said this. I'm pretty sure I did. Again, in my testimony video, I mentioned that I had lost my other friend due to cancer. He died at 12 years old. That person that I lost was the brother of the best friend who saved me. So the boy that I had just mentioned to you guys who saved my life was the same boy who lost his brother. and we were both angry. I, not in a prideful way, I would say I was the angriest in the youth group, not between me and him. Because we were at youth group when we found out he died. And he lived in Missouri at the time. So, which is completely far away from the rest of us. But he was in Missouri, so we had no idea what happened. And when I got the text from my best friend saying that he had passed away, oh, you better believe I was angry. But I wanted to be there for my best friend who actually lost his brother. Like, the boy who passed away, Shepard, was like a brother to me, but he wasn't my biological brother. He was my best friend's biological brother. And I wanted to be there for my friend like he was for me 3 years before. And I would call him, I want to say once a week. We'd text each other as often as we could. We'd pray for each other. We'd laugh with each other. We played video games with each other. And we almost went a year without seeing each other in person. And when we finally saw each other, I mean, his reaction when we saw each other at that same summer camp, I mean, that was the best reaction I've ever gotten from him. We hadn't seen each other in a year. And we went to the summer camp that, again, his uncle ran at the time. And we knock on the doors to the campus, and he opens them, and his face when he saw me, he was like, oh my gosh, and he picked me up. I'm like, hi. Like, it was so good seeing him again, being around him. He unfortunately got sick that same week, but he wound up getting better, and we just spent as much time as possible with each other. He is just amazing. He was amazing. But we did talk about Shepard, his brother, like his passing. Because, again, it was hard for me, but it definitely was harder for him. And I wanted to make sure I was there for him. And I tried. And I do think I did a good job. I do think he did a good job, too, with me, just because it was his brother. He didn't want to disclude my feelings completely. But each time I speak with him, each time I'm around my mom, each time I have little conversations with my sister, I just try to enjoy them as much as possible. My mom and I, we have our disagreements sometimes, but we know how much we love each other. I know she loves me more than I love her, not because, like, I don't love her enough, but because she's my mom. She's going to care for me. She's going to provide for me more than I can care or provide for her. And I hope I'm able to do that one day for her, where if, heaven forbid, she ever needs to be in that position as time goes on, that me and my siblings can provide for her, can be there for her and my dad, can help them with the things they need help with. But I know she loves me more just of the fact that she does provide and care for the rest of us. And my best friend, my guy best friend and my sister, they truly are the reasons that I came back to Christ. Like, had the three of them not been in my life, again, I would not be here. And though I don't have a friendship nor relationship with those friends that told my sister about me wanting to kill myself, and though I don't talk to my girl best friend as much, I do give the three of them credit as well, because those two who told my sister are the reasons why my sister knew and was there for me. And after I had the conversation with my mom and my sister about what I wanted to do, I did text my girl best friend afterward telling her I was okay and that I spoke with my mom and my sister about it. And from that point forward, she and I hung out more. I went over to her house more. She came over to my house more. We were on the same dance team, and then we were both on the worship team at our youth group like a year later. So we got to spend a lot more time with each other. Unfortunately, I don't see those three now, but I do love them. I do care about them. I did reach out to my girl best friend not too long ago, and she's doing great. Hopefully I at least get to see her again. I don't know about the other two, but hopefully I at least get to see her again, because my anger I had towards everyone else and God, I definitely reflected on those 6 people. And just from the fact that I still have at least 3 of them with me still, I'm very happy and grateful for, because again, they are the main reasons why I still have a relationship with Christ. None of them are the foundation. Christ is definitely the foundation, but they helped me get to the point where I am now. I'm older, so definitely a lot of my steps that I take with my walk with Christ is definitely going to be more on me than it is going to be on the 3 of them. And my mom, since she is my mom and she is a pastor and she is a Christian, she's definitely going to hold me more accountable than my sister and my friend, which I have no problem with at all. But I do want to be the best woman of God that I can possibly be. And I know she's going to help me and my sister get to that point, if we haven't already, which I know I haven't. My sister, I don't know everything that's going on in her life, but she is an amazing Christian. So my mom and my dad did a great job with me and my siblings with raising us to be God-fearing children. So I give them credit for that. But yeah, that's the rundown of the video that I made a few weeks ago about my testimony. Once again, if you had not seen that video of me sharing my testimony about anger, I would suggest that you see it so that you get more context behind this live stream. I am going to close this live stream in prayer. If you guys have, like, while this stream is still going on, if you guys have any prayer requests, please put them in here so I can write them down before the stream ends, and I will be praying for you guys. But I'm going to end the live stream now, so I'm going to pray real quick. Dear God, thank you for this wonderful time that I got to stream and connect with these people here. Thank you for those who stuck around for the entire thing, and even for those who only stuck around for less than a second. But I pray that each person who clicked on this stream and who watched even a second of it, that you would bless each and every one of them, that you would touch their hearts, that you would just be a light in their lives. Help them to grow closer and closer to you. Strengthen each and every one of them. Give us all your love, your comfort, your wisdom, and your guidance. I pray for each person who is supporting this channel. I pray that you would bless them and that you would send people in their lives to connect with, whether they're saved or they're unsaved, that you would continue to use each and every person here for your glory and honor your name. I pray that once again you would just have your hand on each and every one of them. And I pray all of this in your precious and holy name. Amen. All right. God bless, guys. Hi. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night. I have no idea where you guys live. So I pray that you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.